So we'll call the Monday, October 28th, 2024 Stakeholder Committee meeting to adjourn, to open. Attendance, so all the members are here except for Paul Hutnack. I think he's Mike Hutnack, who's getting sworn in. And Dan Heaney stepped off, resigned from the Stakeholders Committee to avoid too many conflict with too many ZBA members and stuff like that, and posting other meetings, which is makes sense. So I guess just under section 2 business, as we get into the bylaw itself, I don't know if everybody wants to go first, or if you want me to go first on the bylaw. I get so. Yeah, I think you guys.
Is the Oxford one in the new?
It's in the old. That's not in the new folder, I don't think.
Do you have? I brought my old version. Oh, there it is.
I'll tell you, I really like the Oxford's bylaw. I think if you read through the definition,
I think so.
specifically.
I don't know if it's in our packet.
Stormwater, not
The article?
everything else. That's
Right.
it's not
Edits?
limited to it.
Yeah. I gave you a red line edition.
Bylaw, it's more stormwater.
Oh, okay, there it is. All right.
Yeah,
Instead of trying to mix them all.
No,
correct. Yeah, I agree.
so just, yeah, I think this helps that it is still a red line. The only thing we want to do is, since we ended up removing, sorry Carol, it's right here. Since we removed the header basic saying construction and post-construction of stormwater management bylaw,
Yeah.
we should just take that out of the naming of the file and
Yeah.
maybe just call it, it's a stormwater management bylaw.
Okay.
And we gotta just make I'd say edit the file.
Okay.
It's in the headers and footers, but I would also edit the file name. So we just end the confusion since we.
Right, another thing we should do is when you get copies of this, you have no idea which town
There-
it's from.
There is a revision on the one that he's been passing out with the red lines,
Yeah, this one.
and that,
It does say
and this has all
Douglas.
the edits that we've
This
gone
is what
through.
we're looking at right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, right down in here.
But you really should put Douglas on here in a header or a footer somewhere so that we know what
Okay.
this is attached to.
Okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, you don't know which town is this.
We're using this
Good
one.
idea.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
He just brought it
I'll
in.
add that to the header.
yeah. And I think my only other, on section 1A, it says about protecting the aqua resources and wildlife habitats.
Where are you seeing that?
That's like the third sentence in.
See it?
It's right here. Sorry, Carol. It's
Oh,
like
okay,
fine
way still up
print.
there, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So is that needed? Because I know in the rules and regs, we cover all the definitions, we cover in that, but I don't know, you know what I mean, where that came from.
I have a suggestion on
That's
that.
the belt and suspenders approach, I think.
Okay.
If you look at Uxbridge's,
It's not in our new packet.
Yeah.
In our packet too.
It's here.
Yeah.
if you read their purpose, it strictly focuses on what I think this community is looking to do is to control the stormwater runoff, not
Yep.
get into an environmental bylaw or
Correct.
anything like that, not the,
Yep.
not the,
Well, isn't it the purpose of this whole thing to meet EPA's MS4
Yeah.
Right.
mandate and
Yes.
requirements, correct?
Related
That's all
to.
that we're trying to do.
Yeah. That's it.
stormwater.
Right, so we
Stormwater.
should-
Stormwater, man.
Yeah, but shouldn't that be the purpose, is to meet it is a mandate.
Or
Correct.
conform
Yeah.
to,
Right.
Read it.
conform to the state's mandated stormwater
It's EPA's.
EPA.
It's
Right, but if you read Uxbridge's
Yeah.
purpose,
the authority.
Right here.
I think it
That's the
takes a
rule,
lot of
right,
that.
see?
Because I think
That's
the
not
other
their
stuff,
bylaw.
what's gonna require
this
is,
is-
that'll be triggered when it goes to Concom. If they're within their jurisdiction, they're gonna, that's their due diligence on that side of it. So the bylaw, I think, is, if it's outside of Concom, we don't wanna have all that in there, it's strictly beyond the.
Right, so the bylaw is supposed to be kind of a thinned down copy of the regulations,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So really, so
Well,
what
it-
is the purpose? Why are we here?
So the regs is the procedure, right? What's needed if you had to file a plan.
Right.
The rules and regs. So the bylaw says whether you're, whether you've got to apply or not apply, and whether we're, what map we're basing it off of. I think that's the end, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but isn't the purpose to meet the mandate?
Meet the mandate, 100%.
So why don't we just have that
Correct.
in the
Right,
first paragraph?
because I think
Yeah.
when you
Instead of the
go,
whole paragraph.
when you go to town meeting or people read that,
Correct.
that's why we're doing all this.
Correct,
because
correct.
we're
I think
required
that's,
to do.
exactly, I think that has to be the 1A, right? The 1A
Yeah,
should highlight, we're here to meet this mandate, period, to start out with.
unfunded mandate.
Unfunded mandate,
Yeah,
right
right.
off, no, but that has to be like the first line. Whether we add that in as the first line, but that should be in the first line of that 1A.
Paragraph.
And I
In the
think
paragraph.
we should remove the other entities in there.
What's this foster climate change resiliency?
Well,
Where the hell
that's-
that come
That's
from?
what I'm saying, it's, because there's a lot of overlap on the whole thing.
Wait, who came up with that stuff?
I know.
So,
So let's start out with A. Let's try to get past the first paragraph.
Okay.
so,
You read
so-
it.
Let's,
Do you have Oxford? Is
this- Oh, this Oxford right
Read
here.
their purpose.
That's the rules and regs, we're talking
Read
the
their
bylaw.
purpose, and it's very, it almost goes right to what you're saying.
does.
Those are the rules and regs, this is the
you
bylaw.
got the bylaw there, man?
Yeah, I have, that's the bylaw.
See, they don't
Okay.
have Uxbridge on here either, so you don't know who this is. Anyway, because I had to write it in there. All right, so the purpose, so you want me to read
This
the
is
purpose?
Uxbridge's. That's Uxbridge's.
The purpose of this bylaw is to protect the public health, safety, environment, and general welfare by establishing requirements and procedures to manage stormwater runoff, promote groundwater recharge, and to prevent water pollution from new development and redevelopment. This bylaw seeks to meet that purpose through the following objectives.
So that'd be the purpose.
But
So-
I really think the purpose is to meet the EPA.
EPA,
I think we gotta put that in there somewhere.
That's-
Yeah.
Correct.
One of the concerns is Uxbridge's stormwater bylaw is also an illicit discharge bylaw, and we already have an illicit discharge
Correct.
bylaw. So when
So
it
we're
talks
just
about,
doing one half.
when it talks about to prevent water pollution from new development, like,
We're not
that's
involved in that.
kind of not what this is.
Correct,
okay.
so we can strike that
That's
out.
overlap on.
Right.
what we already have.
So you could put in there the purpose of this bylaw is to follow
Oh,
the
me.
ru-
Me.
to meet
The-
the rules and regulations set forth by the EPA
Yep.
for stormwater management.
Yeah, the EPA's MS4.
You're right.
No, we don't have to say that. That's all gonna be in the map. We don't have to say MS4 or
We might
nothing.
wanna say
We're
MS4, because we don't want to start and slap this thing on the whole town.
Right, 'cause that's what it is, it's all part of the
But our map-
EPA's MS,
Okay.
We're not using
Correct.
an MS4 map though. We're using a partial.
What do you mean we're
That's gonna
not?
be something that comes up,
That,
but,
yeah, that's,
so if you're saying it's MS4, they're gonna say that's the map, but yet we're using the stormwater master
I see
map,
what you mean.
possibly. So, that's why you gotta, I think, watch out what you say in that paragraph.
When you say we're not using that MS4 map,
So,
is the map we're using less onerous?
Well, that's one thing that's supposed to, I think we should worry about, for what map we're gonna use.
yeah, that's
So why don't
gonna
we do that first, so we
Alright.
know how we're gonna
So-
word things.
be, yeah, so we've got it as the item number C here, underneath our business. So what we discussed, and we didn't want to make a decision without the full committee group here, is that there's 3 maps, okay? There's map 1, map 2, map 3. So map 1 and 2 are the MS4, and they're very similar, they're just shaded in. And then map 3 is the town's
It's our infrastructure.
infrastructure where the drainage is.
That one's map two, it's the urbanized.
All right, so, yeah, the urbanized area. All right, so map 3, I'll say, I was in favor of because it highlights our town drainage. And it would be easier to identify anybody who's over an acre.
But the main reason being is our consultant says
Yeah.
to use that map. That's not because of what we want.
Yeah.
We're going through our consultant
Yeah.
who said to use the tile map.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why that tile
Yeah.
map is coming
The,
up.
the fourth map we could have used would have been a full blanket
Yeah, right.
map. I mean, which we think we didn't want to go in that direction because then everybody,
Will map 3 they'll meet what the
Yes.
feds
Yeah.
want us to do?
Yeah.
As per our consultant.
yeah.
Okay,
And he's mandated it and spoke about it more than once.
okay.
I know we did talk about the last meeting on the tile,
Yeah.
I wasn't here at the last meeting.
I wasn't
but,
here either,
Previous
so-
meeting to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The tile map, even, there's a lot of areas on that tile map that do not meet the requirement of what the engineer said, meaning it has to have town infrastructure and discharge into waterways of the US.
And,
And.
So it has to have both of
Correct.
those.
Yeah.
So if you look at all those areas up on, like, up of South Street, there's no town drainage up there, it's a subdivision, it has a retention basin. So those don't discharge into waterways of the US.
Correct.
Primarily, it's gonna be in the downtown areas where, I think that's where I said, I mean, to talk
Yep.
about Adam, to see what catch basins, what we have downtown, or whatever it is, that discharge into the waterways.
So what's-
And
Okay,
if they discharge into the waterways and have municipal
Correct.
infrastructure.
so where on South Street does a basin not dump into a wetland
There is no,
somewhere?
we don't have any catch basins.
Oh, right there.
Old Farm Road.
Old Farm Road,
Old Farm
is a
Road.
subdivision, it's a subdivision.
It goes in the
Correct.
retention
They
ponds.
they have it, and it goes into retention pond, which is treated, and that doesn't discharge
I've got
into.
catch basins up there.
Correct, but they all drain
But
into
they
There's
don't
no
go to
point
the-
sources that just,
They all go into that humongous
Mm-hmm.
retention basin,
Correct.
but most of retention basins eventually dump into wetlands, depending on
Yeah.
the
Right, but
storm
it-
event.
yeah, but that's not a waterway of the US.
A wetland is not?
As far as I understand, it's not. It's a
They all
waterway,
lead to waters of the US.
So,
but
I
it's,
think
but it's
that's-
treated though. It's all
Supreme Court
treated. As
came
it
up
goes
on
into
some of that. The farmers out in the
retention
Midwest,
pond, they're
Yeah.
treated. They don't
Brought the
discharge into
Supreme
a
Court.
waterway of the US. I think it's primarily geared
Un-
towards
Yeah.
okay,
untreated
okay,
water
got it.
that's
Yeah.
discharging into a
So
river.
we trying to say
River.
that this area is not applicable to our bylaw?
Well,
How do
I'm
we
just
take
saying,
it off the map?
well, I know, but I'm just saying
I
that.
think we leave it on the map, but then the and statement is that you are drain into town drainage.
on the
dumps into a river.
applicability section of the
Applicable.
bylaw.
Yeah,
Well, you look at that
Specifically say
map
that.
there, where on that, up there on Old Farm Road, do we have an area that's an acre that could be disturbed? That
Correct.
falls within there, it doesn't.
there's nothing.
You do, every lot's 2 acres.
But no new
That's all
disturbance.
zones.
But they're all built,
Right,
correct?
so land behind it, you can
but there's
disturb
still a
it.
lot of, there's still a lot of,
I wouldn't say they're all built. I think there's 4 or 5 lots still to be built.
According to this, there's a stream off the back of all these properties that ends up in South Street and ends up here and then goes into these waterways.
I tell you, I did drainage analysis up here, and there's actually a lot of water flows this way, and there's wetlands that flow this way, and then it's almost like a drainage divide, and then the wetlands flow that way. So,
right, the wetlands doing it, but they're talking about the point sources that discharge into the ways, into town municipally owned infrastructure, which I don't think that's municipally owned, I don't think there's that.
The retention ponds are here.
They are, they downturn, okay. And discharge into waters of the US. So, and that's why I asked, describe me to what is waters of the US.
you wanna know what the definition is?
I tried looking it up.
It's 144
Yes.
pages.
Yes,
That
I
is
tried looking it up,
correct.
yes.
All right.
So,
So try to decipher that.
So
Correct.
can I throw this out there?
Yeah.
Let's do this. On a consensus, I would say, right?
Yep.
What map do we want to go towards? I'm saying the tile map. And if so, we decide on that, send it to our consultant this
Yep.
week.
Yep.
Say, listen, does all this need to be on here? And he might say, yes, no, or you can eliminate this, or no, you need to keep it all. Let him look at it,
Yep.
have him zing it back to us, so we can get a final look and then accept it.
I think he addressed that in his.
I think that's the
in
best
his
way to do
previous-
it.
His previous email, because he had said in his previous email that retention ponds don't necessarily apply
Well-
to infrastructure of the town.
Correct.
So I'm saying that they don't necessarily.
Would the variable be like on the planning board though, so if it comes to planning board, And, you know, like, then they can rule that, okay, you're out, you don't need to do it, or, you know, is that, puts a jurisdiction in them, right?
Yeah.
So even if it stays in, and then they can kick it out if, you know, if we're like on the line and
Well,
trying to
but
figure it out.
what we're trying to do though is prevent people coming in, they're looking at a map, having a file,
Yeah.
and come to find out they don't have the file.
Yeah.
Whereas you go online, here's the map.
Yeah.
Either it's black and white, like we said the other
Yeah.
meeting, no gray area.
Yep.
Don't have it where it's on a map, but yet there again, you're not gonna enforce it. Then somebody's gonna say, well, why didn't he have to do it? Well, he's not really in the zone. Yeah, but he's on the map. So we need to clarify, once we pick one, and have them look at it and just say yay and nay in what areas.
Are we in favor of using the tile map, since that's the, you know,
I
the
am.
less?
Yeah, I thought that's.
Well, no,
what
I
we
just
would-
wanted to wait until everybody was
They need
here.
a formal vote.
Well, I think consensus, I think if that's the way we're gonna go. I wanted just Carol and Colin to be here if we're
Alright.
in favor of using that map, there, the tile map,
After,
you know, I think we're,
but yet have it reviewed.
correct, I, no, to your point, I think that we can send it off now.
Yeah.
To say, hey, with this map, is there anything, because this is, and I think you could highlight that subdivision's got a retention pond based upon what his previous
Give
email
an
was.
example.
But that's an
I mean,
argument that we can't have, let him review
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
no,
he's
I-
paid
I-
for.
I can tell you some other areas on Southeast Main Street,
Yeah.
when you get down past,
Oh, there's a few areas, 100%.
there was no town drainage on Southeast Main Street. And
Yeah.
that has all down Southeast Main Street on the other side of the rail bed,
Yep,
and areas down there that's addressing in that map.
yeah,
So there's a lot of areas that
Yep.
have no municipal infrastructure whatsoever.
all right. So, we're good with the map, we're gonna use a tile map?
So
After-
so we want to specifically have him identify areas that meet, that,
Are
his
required
exact
for
wording,
this.
have municipal infrastructure and discharge into waterways of the US.
So we're asking the consultant
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Identify.
Review that
Identify.
Yeah,
map.
identify, just review it to make sure that there's no additional adds or subtracts, you know what I mean? Where he can look at it and go, okay,
Yeah,
I
but
think-
what that consultant doesn't know, for example, Old Farm Road like you know it, correct?
I know the detention ponds, but I don't know where they go. After that, like I said, I know
Yeah.
where it goes into, but I
That's
don't know
why
where it
he's
goes
the
out
consultant
after.
and he
But it's
communicates
treated
with the town.
yeah,
So he gets the map, he looks at it, if he has questions, or he's told, hey, listen, to the highway department, listen, we'd like you to review this. We have some concerns on retention ponds, this is where they're at. If you have further questions, give me a shout. That's how a consultant's supposed to work.
alright,
That's what they're there for.
alright,
So is he familiar, this consultant?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
yeah.
He's the one that's telling us, he's the one
He's been doing this
corresponding.
for
Yeah,
us for
they're
years.
doing us, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we can do that, I think that's a fair thing.
Just a question on that Old Farm Road detention basin. How much water have you ever seen in that thing?
Not much on either one.
It's
No.
huge.
It's got good
They're
drainage
massive,
areas.
yeah,
And it
they're-
drains out the back on the
They're good,
properties.
yeah, I've seen, we've cleaned them, we've cut all the brush in it, it's always been like pretty much
Yeah.
dry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
So there's an example, so you're putting all your burden on something of that property that is dry,
Okay.
Yeah.
in that retention basin.
Yeah.
And it's treated, if anything was to eventually,
Yeah,
it's gonna infiltrate out of there like it's
Yeah.
supposed to.
I've
It's
gone through
clean water
that
that's
too.
just going naturally through where it's gonna go.
Okay.
Alright.
So we're saying that then that whole area right here might get taken off the map?
Correct.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
areas, there's a lot of areas on that map.
just, and
Correct.
it'd be good for him to review, you know what I mean, if he's got questions, he can ask, you know, Matt or Adam and go from there, but at least we know that's the, you know, that is either gonna shrink down and it shouldn't grow from what, you know, what the infrastructure piece is.
Could I go over there? I want to go a little closer.
Oh,
I think he's probably gonna lean on you, Adam. So
Yeah.
where is the,
Yeah.
what catch basins?
and the Mulford River.
What catch basins are attached to pipes that discharge
Correct.
into the
Yeah.
rivers?
Yeah, correct. And like I said, I know the downtown area, I can tell you all that stuff, you know, where it goes, and we know it goes into Mumford.
Right.
But it's up on those projects that, like I said, once it hits wetlands, but not a stream, or, you know, that's where it loses, you know, I lose, you know, like, I don't know where exactly they flow at that point, but
Alright, so if we go back to the bylaw piece, if we're clear on the map, what we're gonna do.
So now we know on the
Matt, you're good with,
what they're gonna work
sending
with.
something? So, in that, the purpose section A, 1A, do you want, Margaret to write you up something to call that out, or?
You wanna pull it from the Uxbridge?
Yeah, I see the Uxbridge. I think the only thing we have to do is lead off with that, the purpose of this is to meet the, EPA guidelines related to stormwater management.
Yeah, I think it's important we put that on, because.
It's just that first sentence.
And they're gonna
You
know?
know why we're doing it.
The first sentence.
Otherwise, they say, who came up with this?
Correct,
And then
correct.
they'll be carrying it on forever.
Yeah. And then who's Sean Reardon?
What?
Sean Reardon.
Where did that come from?
All the files that are around this article.
Oh, were created by Sean Reardon?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
he worked for CEI.
Okay, I just wasn't
You
sure.
might, must
I
have
don't
been.
I just kind of was like, wait a second, a name that I didn't hear of, so that's why I was just asking. Cool. The other one was in definitions, right? Again, on the bylaw, number 3. My concern is that we're kind of crossing over to another group thing. So
You mean C?
oh, D. Sorry, D.
Oh, yeah, I got that highlighted too. I would just get
Which one?
aquaculture. Do we have any-
Horticulture?
Do we have any aquaculture in Douglas?
I don't know, it was just part of the definition that they gave us.
All right.
Yeah.
Can we scratch that?
You can get rid of that.
I would.
Okay.
I don't think it's gonna hurt anything and stuff like that, so I think that was the 2 changes I came for. Oh, we already went over, we added new development in, which came over from Uxbridge and,
Well, I tell you, I'm still confused. If I read new development and I read redevelopment, I'm still confused. What's the difference? It's not very clear here.
was that,
If it jumps out to you, the difference between the two, let me know. I've gone over
Oh.
them many, many times.
I thought we had post.
Read, post.
Oh, yeah. So we've got, I guess we've got 4 developments in here, right? We've got pre-development, post-development, redevelopment, and new development. And I think because we took over Uxbridge's definitions as well, we liked that they were a little clearer.
I think Oxbridge had it. Oxbridge one, the redevelopment is pretty clear.
Yeah. They did have. So I think the beneficial, because it actually calls it up with the square footage. In Uxbridge's, it's any construction, alternate, or improvement exceeding land disturbance of 1 acre gross square footage where the existing land is used commercial or, I think they meant industrial,
Industrial, yeah.
but they put institutional.
Yeah.
I think if we added the definition for Uxbridge's in here, for the redevelopment, it's a little clearer, because my concern is that then we say, does not meet the definition of new development, and that's the redevelopment one. So I would just add Uxbridge's language for that redevelopment. Does that make sense?
I'm
Just so
trying
we're, and you wanna look at,
The Uxbridge,
Yep.
under the Uxbridge bylaws.
yep. We're just, you got it right here?
So read to me what that definition of redevelopment is.
You just had it in your hand. It's that one there.
Yeah?
Yep, page 3. Sorry, 1, 2.
But,
It's page 3. It's on the turn.
see, I like the one that we have under P, where it says, resulting in earth disturbance, new earth disturbances greater than 1 acre. The way they have theirs, do they go back and say, well,
Okay.
20 years ago, you took a house and you got the lawn and you got your driveway and everything else, do they add that to it? With Uxbridge, I think you might be able to, although they're only talking about commercial and industrial land, but you can't just do this on commercial and industrial land, I don't think. That's why I think that ours looks better. Purpose resulting in new earth disturbance of greater than 1 acre.
Okay.
It does not meet the definition of new development.
Yeah, our redevelopment is laid
Better.
out pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
All right.
ours is pretty good.
All right.
It kinda is to the point,
Yeah.
Okay.
because it tells you flat out,
Yeah,
anything new. In other words, you could have pre-existing,
right.
You don't include that, anything beyond
Right,
pre-existing,
right.
of what you already have.
You could be living in the house now for 20 years, you have your lawn and your driveway,
So
your swimming pool, and
Right.
if we're okay with the redevelopment, then what was the other one that you had? New development?
Redevelopment, any construction, land alteration, or improvement of impervious surface resulting in new earth disturbances greater than 1 acre.
yeah.
So how is any different than new development?
Because if you got, everything goes on,
There could already be a house and everything there. Somebody could be doing their backyard.
So yeah,
New-
you add
so in other
parking
words,
spaces.
anything, in other words, you could be in your house and all that, that's already been disturbed. This is anything new, resulting in new earth disturbances.
I know in the Wetlands Protection Act, any new impervious area does not qualify for redevelopment.
Because it's left impervious. Right?
What's that?
Because it's left impervious?
Yeah, so if you're good, as soon as you start to add a new impervious area, then that no longer applies. So that area, if you're only gonna do a half an acre of new pavement, that's not redevelopment. But you still don't trigger it, because you're only doing a half an acre.
Right.
I don't wanna,
No.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about, that's in the wetlands.
right, well, I just
Right.
had a hard time, I read these two definitions, and
Because-
to me, it's not very clear.
Because this redevelopment, you don't have to be anywhere near a wetland, okay, on this stormwater thing. You don't have to be anywhere, there doesn't have to be any wetland whatsoever, just the fact that you're going in there and disturbing the property. Doesn't have anything to do with wetland.
All right, well, same with the new development, and earth disturbances. So the only difference between the new and the redevelopment, on redevelopment, we have that, we're putting in new. That word new in
Right,
there.
new
Yeah.
earth
There's
disturbance.
just not much of a difference between the two of them.
No,
Well,
they're
I-
very close.
But what they could do, if somebody already had, like, say, 3/4 of an acre that they've already disturbed from, where it was natural, then all of a sudden they want to do another half, push that over, say 1/4 of an acre would push it over. Well, it wouldn't with this because it has to be the new earth disturbance, not an old thing that's
Okay.
already been done.
Yeah, I think the way I look at it is that it's the calculations of the whole footprint of the lot.
Right.
So if you got a 2 acre lot.
Right.
And you put in a development years ago, and then that was already there, and then someone says, well, what's your whole area of disturbance, or, and you're just like, I'm redeveloping the back, whether that's the changes that they're
Now, what
doing.
if you impervious surface, back to redevelopment, or improvement of impervious surfaces resulting in new additional earth disturbances, or am I,
Oh,
Well, it's the
underneath,
new earth disturbances.
new additional?
yeah, okay. You wanna put that
So
underneath?
it's a little
the-
more clear.
New additional, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
As an engineer, we're always looking for redevelopment, because you always have more flexibility.
Well, that's the
So-
thing.
So I'm trying to see, how does that qualify under this?
Well, we don't wanna
So-
punish someone that already has an acre that they've already developed, and they wanna do their second acre, let's
So
say.
let's just add additional in there,
Additional,
that's a little
yeah.
more clear.
Yep, additional.
I think I'm just reading one of his previous emails from Nick, it says, well, that question was asked, it says, nothing that gets that specific in the MS4 permit. I think if someone is clearing trees once every few years, something like that would get covered. It really is geared towards large-scale developments and commercial industries or subdivisions.
Of course, that's what they say.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to make sure it's clear.
Oh, we're
So
not-
we're just going to interpret what he
We're
says
gonna,
and make sure.
we're gonna make sure it
clear.
shows it here. Otherwise, you're in there and you're battling away for months.
Yes.
Do we wanna look at, the exemptions, I guess, section 6, where the applicability and exemptions?
And that's what I did, is I just pulled all the exemptions from Oxford, because as we were reading them, we really liked them. And then I just deleted all of ours.
Oh, you deleted it,
Yeah.
ours?
Yeah, ours, we had 6, they had 13. No, sorry, we had 7, and they had 13.
So where was Uxbridge's?
When you,
So what else do we have in ours that
Okay, we have 13.
we may,
6 exemptions. Oh, yeah, we had 7. This is right here, what we're comparing right here, Carol. Section 6.
R7 part of the 13?
No, Some of them are similar though,
All right.
especially number 2 is on there.
So, number one, it might be easy, you know. We probably should strike, instead of deleting that, it probably would have been easier to strike out and then add in that new or whatever. So, our old one, first exemption, I'll get a copy of it, okay?
Exemptions, okay, I see it.
Okay, normal maintenance and improvement of land in agricultural use, to the extent such activities are allowed under the Wetland Protection Act, regulations, as amended, which, as set forth, here within, allowed certain activities on the land in agricultural use. That was the exemption.
Yeah. And this one simplifies it, calls it normal maintenance improvement of land and agricultural use as defined by the WPA 310
All right,
C10.
so our old number one is really number 2 now.
Yeah, and I
Right.
think I'm missing 48, I think it's section 3.
And,
It's,
and if everybody wants to know what number 2
it does, yeah,
is 310 CMR.
yeah. So that's our former number 1 exemption, is number 2 now.
Number 2 is now number 4, maintenance of existing landscaping, gardens and lawn areas, put in single-family dwelling.
Okay,
That's the same,
so those came over.
yep.
Number 3 is construction of land to agricultural use for crops.
Jimmy Sell.
It just elaborates a little further on the agricultural piece.
So,
The third one on ours is the fencing,
yep,
and that is now number 8.
that's number 8. Okay,
Normal maintenance improvement of Douglas publicly owned roadways and associated drainage infrastructure.
normal maintenance. Improvements. And I think that one's a normal maintenance improvements.
And it's covered under,
Is that number 6?
I think it's number 11.
11? Sorry.
Emergency repairs to the stormwater management facility that pose threat to public health or safety as deemed necessary by the stormwater authority. I think that should be as deemed necessary by the
Cool.
highway superintendent.
So that's number 5 in our old reg.
Right.
So that's now number 11.
Okay.
Normal,
So 4 didn't carry over.
hold on. Yeah. So these were the ones, these were our old ones,
Oh, okay,
okay?
yeah,
And then the new ones are number 13 up. So you gotta kinda go between the 2
oh,
pages.
wow.
So number 4 is normal maintenance and improvement of the town of Douglas public-owned roadways and associated drainage infrastructure.
Yeah, we should bring that one back.
Yeah, that's important because,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, so let's make him number 14.
Yep.
14 is gonna be which one?
The old number 4, which is
Yeah.
normal maintenance. I think, but again, yeah, I don't see anything that's really
Did you
close
say it's
to
gonna be
it.
number what?
Number 14, yeah.
Number 4.
I think 11, instead of as deemed necessary by the stormwater authority, that means like the emergency still has to come to the stormwater authority, and an emergency should be declared by the town staff.
Right,
away.
yeah.
I would say declared by the DPW, or rather
The highway superintendent.
highway superintendent, period, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not gonna be a time to wait for a planning board
That's
or,
for
you
sure.
No, exactly.
know what I mean?
You don't wanna be waiting for stuff like that.
Yeah.
If it's you, then it would also involve Bob Sullivan on the water department, so I think that's the better way to go.
These guys all work together.
Yeah, yeah. Number, back to here, the number 6, project that is judicial conservation are required stormwater.
So I pulled both of those out
Okay.
because it's already cited earlier
And we talked about site plans and everything else.
in our, nothing in this bylaw regulations adopted herein is intended to replace or be in derogation of the requirements of the town of Douglas zoning, wetlands bylaw, wetlands general bylaw, the Wetland Protection Act, wetland regulations, of the Douglas subdivision control rules. I think that covers it there, so we don't have to
Okay.
list the exemptions.
So are you saying
6 and
projects?
7
6 and 7,
would be covered because they're already falling underneath the board
Right.
of authority.
but do it, whatever, what they call water, stormwater thing on it. If something's already in progress and it's gone through all of this, well, then they decide, okay, now we need stormwater management too.
Yeah,
It's
so-
already done some stormwater.
Right, so I think what this bylaw is not intended to replace or be in derogation for the stormwater requirements of a subdivision or a notice of intent, and that's what this reads.
Yeah, okay,
That's my understanding.
all right. That's good.
Now, isn't the building commissioner going to, when he gets an application, is gonna make the determination whether these stormwater permit's gonna be required based on this?
He can, the ideal thing for them to do is be able to have a button in our GIS system to click on a button and
Oh, yeah.
does your parcel show up or not?
And that's why the map's so important.
And then if it does, then,
Correct map
you know,
should be
then,
right
So
there.
it'll get triggered right then and there?
then the agent,
Right. That's what we're
you know,
trying to
can then
hammer out.
review it and say, yes, you're gonna have to apply. Done.
Yep.
If you haven't had, so
You know what I mean?
tell me again, if they haven't already applied for site plan review and special permits, they will have to go for stormwater. If they have, they don't have to.
Right.
So if they've got a thing,
So we should leave that in there, like.
I think we should leave it in, quite frankly, because I'm telling you, you want to make it as clear as possible, because you get a new guy in there and
Projects.
he reads it different. When you got it in black and white, there it is. I say leave it in.
Which one are you talking
That's-
about?
Number
I feel like
6.
it's covered under authority, though.
Well, I'm not, it doesn't hurt
Yeah,
to
I'm
put
not
it
so
in
sure it's
twice.
covered under authority.
I'm not sure it is
Okay.
either. I'd like to see it written out as an exemption.
You can probably put the two together, and it's just clearer projects that are underneath the jurisdiction of conservation.
Or,
And I think,
or if you leave it, use it, where you request a waiver.
I'll ask Nick. see
Yeah.
what he thinks.
I
Yeah.
think leave it
I
in.
thought you did ask them in an email.
yeah, because they're not, you don't.
I did read your.
The worst thing is that you'd have an applicant
I don't think I asked about
that has to go to 3 meetings or.
Exactly.
No, you don't want that, but you also want to make sure that
I
you
could see there was no
cover,
reply.
and that it's, something's filed.
Correct.
You don't ask for the waiver. It's like, hey, I'm already doing this.
Right, right,
Can I have a waiver on this one? Yes, because you're doing it.
right,
Or sometimes you might file and you trigger one and not the other.
right. But if you got it in here that it's exempt, it's already filed, you don't have to, it's one less thing.
No, I'd leave it, well,
On,
yes and no. What I'm getting at is if you take it out and they go to file, or, right, then a waiver could be requested, or you want to prevent it beforehand.
Right, you don't want to have to ask for a waiver, so just leave it in, that it's an exemption.
Project.
I don't
Because-
see, I don't see an answer on that, no. All right, well, on that. The
Because they're
question-
already going before a
question
board.
was- The question was right in this email here.
And this already says that.
Wants
Yeah.
to exempt project that files site plan review and finish subdivision items. I don't see an
Depends
answer.
upon
I
how the
think you-
building
okay.
inspector decides to read it, but it's here, there it is, black and white.
But I think,
It was on September 17th.
yeah, if we're gonna add 7 in there, we should say projects that are underneath the jurisdiction of the Douglas Planning Board.
That's on the next page, let me see.
You know, add that word, which the applications for site plan review, special permit, or subdivisions. Because it's already being filed underneath there.
Basically combine those two, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I would add the board, planning board. You know, that's the jurisdiction of, by the Douglas Planning Board for number 7.
It's also the Concom.
Correct. Number 6 covers the Concom.
Yeah.
Number 7 should just read out, it's very similar. Just adding, say, the projects that are under, I think you're missing the word, under the jurisdiction, or by the jurisdiction of the Douglas Planning Board. And then, you know, which filed an application for a site plan, special permit, or definitive things, and required stormwater,
Okay.
okay? And so that way they're already doing that work. Because the board of authority at that point becomes the one that that way that you're one meeting. You're dealing with, you know, the planning board because you're already doing a site plan review, right? So you don't have to have, you know, a second subject on the agenda to say,
stormwater.
for stormwater.
Right.
Or, you know, if you're already dealing with conservation, then you're
Within
dealing
the
with that, then
jurisdiction,
they can
right.
address it there. It's how the boards have kind of yielded to each other over the years, where if conservation was already doing some stormwater management, the planning board would say, okay, we'll trust their results. You know what I mean? And vice versa. If planning board was doing stormwater, then the conservation was like, okay, because you're gonna hire the same town consultant, Graves or whoever it is these days.
But you need to know, the building inspector needs to know that that's how it is.
Yeah.
Before now, he's holding up a building permit for a month or two. So if that's in there, he wouldn't be holding up a building permit for a month or two before you have to go to talk to him.
Yeah.
These boards.
But I think that's minor. I think we got a lot of exemptions there.
Okay.
You got the notes on that?
Yep.
You good?
If you look up on an additional exemption I thought of was, which I think there should be a definition of Massachusetts Stormwater Management Act in the definitions, and then also in the exemptions provided by the Massachusetts DEP Stormwater Management Act.
Like number 15 on these exemptions?
So we're not, so basically we're not, if they have
Correct.
an exemption and we say it's not, well, that would.
Right,
They have an exemption where if you're building, what is it, 4 lots or less, you're exempt from the stormwater standards.
Mhm.
So we don't want to say that, correct? So we don't want to use the same exemptions under the stormwater, the state stormwater standards, right, Matt?
Yeah, I don't think we should, like,
Yeah,
that's
so
kind of their guys'.
that's the trigger under the stormwater standards, 5 lots or less, you don't have to do stormwater.
Right,
You already have that now in the local.
that's what's currently in place now.
Correct.
Why wouldn't we want to carry that
Well,
forward?
I mean, under this, I mean, it doesn't matter how many lots, it's the acreage, right? So why would we, if we cite in the stormwater standards exemptions,
Yep,
which
yep.
is 4 lots or less, well, that's more than an acre.
Well,
So we don't want to say that's exempt.
No, it's the same situation where if you have an A&R lot and you have 4 A&R lots, those are taken individually, not as 4 lots.
Right.
Those lots are taken individually. So
According
it's
to
the same,
DEP.
it's the same,
According to DEP, you consider them all under a blanket for stormwater management, that's what
Correct.
you're saying, yeah.
Yeah,
not for an A&R, on an existing public way.
yeah, you could,
They do.
they do now,
They did it on Southeast Main. They're making them
Yeah.
do stormwater for his 9 AMRs.
yeah.
Yeah.
A&Rs, we used to think were exempt from all the stormwater, but now the DEP's saying you got, it was 5, right?
Yep.
You have 5 A&R lots, you have to do stormwater. And
Okay.
it's very difficult to do when you have these individual lots, you
Right,
know?
right, because you can't, how do you, if you have, say, you buy a piece of land, okay, you buy a piece of land and you have all these lots. I sell a lot to you, I sell a lot to you, I sell a lot to you, I sell a lot to this guy. And then nobody develops at the same time.
Well, then somebody's gonna get stuck having to do all the stormwater that.
Yeah,
that
I don't think that's.
That's Lakeshore in a
I think
nutshell
that-
right there.
I bet you that would get challenged, that would.
Thought we talked about that at that last meeting we had, in that seminar, that gentleman brought it up. He
Yeah.
asked about that.
Yeah,
He said, no, you don't have to do
yeah, the
that.
planning board doesn't, but
No.
I don't think.
DEP, they have to regulate stormwater.
Yeah, and
I
then
guess
I
so.
tell you,
willing to- I'd be willing
if
to
any
bet
of
that.
that triggers filing with the conservation, I've seen it come in from the DEP, anything over 5 lots, A&Rs,
But the
Yeah,
thing is,
Over 5 lots.
or 5 lots or
Yeah,
more,
yeah.
yeah.
So-
Less than 4 lots or less, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But 5 lots or more, yeah, they make you do it, it's very
Yeah.
difficult to do on,
so what
because
if
you can't make
somebody,
one big basin for all these A&R lots, you know, so what do you do?
I think you're crossing over on the line. I think the A&Rs are exempt, but the 4 lots on a subdivision, yes, that's clear.
Now, DEP gave us comments back. Lake Shore is a
lots.
perfect example of this, where they have 5 A&R lots and
Yeah.
they're requiring stormwater for all 5 lots.
That's right, so.
Even though they're
It's-
outside of wetland jurisdiction.
Yeah.
but how,
They all
so let me
contribute
tell
down
this
soil.
again.
So maybe-
Exciting, I'd like to see
Yeah, yeah.
what's the sighting on that.
So it's either a Nifty's permit or a SWIP, they have to do one or the other.
So,
But that's if it's all done at once. What if I sell?
It doesn't-
No,
No?
no,
No, it
let's,
doesn't have to be done at once.
so let's back up here. You have 20 acres of land. You break off 2 lots and that's it. You
Oh,
sell
well, then yeah, that's a way to do
it.
it.
All right?
yeah,
Then you go 2 or 3 years, you do two lots.
That's what Beck's doing.
So
Yep.
that, then you're not,
Well,
Yeah.
then it's not getting triggered. Or if you don't go before the Conservation Commission, it's not getting triggered either.
yeah.
correct.
So I think back where we are with this stormwater here.
Well, that's
Do
what-
we want to add in for number 15 as an exemption that adding in the EPA exemptions?
I think
Call it
that's
that.
for them to
DEP.
enforce, not for us.
The DEP.
DEP?
We shouldn't jump in and enforce their regs.
No, but this is.
No,
this is
adopting
on-
their exemptions.
No, I think it should stay out of this.
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
100% stay out of this.
Okay.
Yeah, it just gets
This
money
is,
at
yeah,
that
this
point.
is totally something.
Because they're already in there?
Mhm.
No, I won't
Talk
have
about-
anything.
About,
DEP.
Mhm.
We're not dealing with the DEP on this entity. So I don't think they should be in it at all.
well, for the purpose of the exemption, it would be less restrictive.
I think that's all the changes I have.
Right, but it would fall under a separate category, not under this.
Okay. So we have two
This
more,
is strictly worrying about that map.
all right. Are we good with the bylaw so far?
Yeah.
Is there any other stuff you want to review, Matt, in here? Enforcement?
Just for enforcement there, do you want to update the fine amount, or, I just kind of pulled that from Uxbridge, because they had a fine in theirs, but we were kind of putting it in the regulations, but they put theirs right in their bylaw. And I don't know if we wanted to do 100 a day, or we could do up to 3, depends on what we want to do.
So theirs was in the regs,
Yeah.
and
No, theirs is in their bylaw.
theirs is in the bylaw?
Yeah, that's why I pulled it.
I think,
But the word, you have verbiage in there though, which is correct. The last verbiage. The
So-
planning board has the ability to reduce or waive.
yeah.
So by having it in the bylaw, if they want to change the amount, then they have to go back to town meeting to change the amount,
Right.
which I think is good.
Yep.
Because you get, you got a thing, people vote on $100 a day, then all of a sudden, the board that's overseeing says, oh, you know what? We're gonna have a little public hearing, which nobody knows about. Okay, we've had the hearing, we're moving it to $500 a day, which nobody shows up. Okay, there it goes. No, I think it should go before people in town to vote on it. So I'd like to see it right in the bylaw, the amount, and then if you want to change it, well, then you gotta go
Yeah,
and,
I think it's fine the way it's
go
written
back.
up.
Yeah.
in front-
Section 7
front
and
of the
section
voters.
11 have two different amounts. So we have 100 on section 7 and 300 on section 11.
Oh, it says up to.
Right.
Up to, and the board can wait. So if it's a homeowner and the guy just made a mistake, whatever, the board can say, hey, don't worry about it. You're fixing it. Good faith.
Yeah.
But there again, you have the person that says, no, I ain't gonna do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you have the ability to leave it as to what it is.
Do we do $100 a day or do we do $300?
You have to be definitive on that, because I think council already ruled in on that question and said that it has to be a definitive amount, you can't just leave it up to.
Up to, yeah, I don't think we use the word up
It has
to.
to be.
Okay.
That was, remember, when they would discuss this
Yeah.
a while back.
So on section 11, we can't use the word up to.
Yeah.
I believe, you can check with that.
Yeah, no, I think you're right,
Yeah.
because it has to be specific. The question is between section 7 and section 11, do we go with $100 or do we go with 300, or do we want to split the apple in the middle and call it 200?
Well, the issue, I think we talked about, again, in the previous meeting, was that $100 or $300 a day to CIG or any of the big companies
Yeah.
that are doing is nothing.
Yeah,
The 100 to 300 on a resident is substantial.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
So I think maybe we should just gear it towards the residential side, because then it's
But then-
100 or 300 to the big, the companies aren't gonna care. They're not gonna care what it is. What the person's gonna care is people sitting at the table.
Right.
Yeah. So do you do this, so that goes to the point, do you do it at 300, knowing the fact that the planning board can reduce it for a resident?
They can't
Can't
reduce it.
reduce it, I think he just said
No,
it.
they can't.
We have it in there.
We have it in there.
Planning board has ability to
We'll put it in
reduce
there.
or waive fines if
Right there.
justified in their
Let's-
opinion.
let's-
Oh, they can.
Yeah, oh yeah, we made sure that was in there.
Okay.
Yeah, I made sure that was gonna be in there, because we didn't want someone, you know, who made a mistake, get hit with a
So-
fine that, you know.
Right, so it's gonna, I don't know if you're gonna be, well, you can leave it and see if it passes, but I think it's gonna end up having to say, can waive, maybe waive the fine. I don't know if you can reduce it. I think it has to be a definitive.
Well, I think, we're just giving them the authority
Yeah.
that they could waive it
They could waive
or
it.
reduce,
Yeah, okay.
you know what I mean? So I think we just wanna know, to your point with CRG,
Not that there anything.
no, I know,
not picking on
any
them,
corporate,
but they're
oh,
the biggest
any
yes.
ones.
corporation company, do we leave it in there where it's a higher amount? Where you know that they could be like, you know, whatever, not paying attention to the town and just going through it. Because don't forget,
It would be nice if it could be done legally and you can do that, but.
no,
I'm not
I don't
sure
think you
about
can increase, that's the problem, the problem is this, is if you do it at $300 and you deal with, a corporation that just blows you off, then the $300 adds up quick, right? And the planning board still has the authority to reduce it or waive it, okay? And even for a resident, if it's $300 a day, they still have the ability to reduce it or waive it. So, but if you make it $100 a day,
You can't go any higher.
you can't go any higher, and the corporation would just,
Yeah.
I'm not paying nothing. You know what I mean, I guess, Mike, you're on the planning board, what's your thoughts? It's gonna come to you
I
guys.
think, right, I mean, you remember the board can change
That's-
at any time.
Yep.
I mean, I'm gonna say the consensus of the board now would be on a resident, honest mistake, the fee would be, hey, you're fixing it, don't worry about it. Continue
Yeah.
moving forward in what you're doing.
And they could request a waive the fee.
Yeah.
If there's
To
a-
the corporate side, and we've seen it, if they wanna tell you, we ain't gonna do diddly, well, it'd be nice to have, every now and then, we wish we had more teeth
Yep.
to enforce or go after. And if it isn't there, we can't do anything.
Yeah,
So,
I would say keep it at 300 because you can reduce it. You know what I mean? I don't think we could put, here's the other thing, I don't think we could put for a residential project
No, I
or
don't
commercial
think
industrial,
I don't think you can.
you can't separate them that
No,
way.
we can't
So I
do
think if you kept it at 300, you know what I mean? There's also, don't forget also, you know, if it doesn't get waived or it doesn't get reduced, the applicant could still appeal it to Superior Court and ask for the.
Yeah, it's gonna cost
too.
more than.
No, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but I think a reasonable board with a reasonable resident and a reasonable mistake, you know what I mean?
which I agree, but there again, we've all seen it, every now and then you get a board that isn't reasonable,
Yeah, I know.
which is sad. Could there be verbiage in there?
You could do a second appeal, you could do an appeal to the planning board, and then upon that appeal, you can appeal to
Selectmen?
selectmen. Because you definitely don't want to go to Superior Court.
I think we have to do the fines pursuant to MGL 40, section 21D.
Okay.
That's the way we have to do it.
Mhm.
And that goes to court.
Okay.
It can't go to the selectmen or another board?
Okay. Well,
So in that case, then it can't be reduced if the fine is, then it can't go back to the planning board for review on that then, right?
Well, if they set
Yes.
a number, they could set a number at the meeting, and that's where they can reduce it or waive it before setting a
Correct.
number.
and
If
and
they
then
set
if
a
you
number,
disagree,
they can't then, I mean, they could then reduce it at a future hearing.
and if you disagree as the applicant for the number, let's say it's, you racked up $9,000 in fines, and they say, hey, $4,500, you know what I
appeal
mean? And then you say, well, I can't pay that, that's ridiculous.
Right.
Then you're, again, they reduce it down, then you're appealing the $4,500 decision
Mhm.
to Superior Court.
Yeah.
But could they reduce it at a future meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They could even vote to,
We put in there the way to
remove
hold.
them, they could posthumously remove the fines.
Yep,
Yeah.
If the person complied, say, all right, you haven't paid them yet, let's just wipe them out,
okay.
get rid of them completely.
I mean, the idea is never to bury
Right,
a
that's what I want to
resident.
make sure, that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
No, I
I think
agree.
the idea is not
But-
to bury a person who does something innocently.
Correct, agree.
You know,
But I think if you don't have the language in there, that's a little tougher stance than the corporate, the commercial and the industrial can steamroll you. You know what I mean? That's the problem, is your.
The balance.
Yeah, the balance of the two. But that's why we made sure we added something in regarding the planning board's authority to reduce and waive.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that way then, when it becomes a resident,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? We could reduce and waive. That they would have the authority to reduce and waive.
I
That was
mean,
thought.
I can see the 300, because in this little area, there really isn't gonna be a whole lot of residential doing an acre of disturbance. When you stop and think of it,
Okay.
if we look at the area. If we're looking at a whole different area on,
Yeah, the
or
whole
another
town.
map, now we'd be looking at something completely different. But I think with having a smaller town, that's why the map is so important in
Yep.
these decisions. Because these decisions are based on a map that's gonna be used.
Yep.
We look at it and it's like, okay, really, how much area there is the ability
Yep.
for it to happen?
So if we change section 7 to be to $300, it would match section 11.
Yep.
That's the key here.
Okay.
Um,
And get rid of the up to.
yeah, we have to get rid of the up to on section 11.
Okay.
Okay.
Go back to section 8. That's still something I need to review, the selectmen policy for entry to perform duties.
Can you, for now, can you, with what's written there, instead of at least 4 hours, can you make it 24 hours?
I thought we
until-
said 24. Yeah.
Correct,
Okay,
let's make it
sorry.
24 hours until we know.
Okay.
What page?
And you know what else I'd like to add on to that?
Section 9, right here? That way?
I mean, do we even, I guess the question I would have on that,
Oh, okay, all right.
You're gonna make it
Question I-
24.
the question I have that, is that even, is this whole section even relevant to anything? Because you have to follow what the statutes of law are. If the Conservation Commission, you guys have rules and laws you have to follow. You just can't go out and march through people's property.
Yes.
So-
Right.
So,
This is
I
once
guess-
they file the application, then
Right, so I
they
don't
can
have-
enter the site.
I don't like the idea of just because they make you get the application, so basically they're telling you, yeah, we'll give you one, but then you have to have it. In other words, you have to have it, and you're gonna tell them, we can go on your property anytime you want. I don't.
Kind of how
I
it works
don't-
with conservation.
No,
So,
no, you still
you
have
file
to.
an application, then you need the owner's consent in order to get to the property.
Yeah, so.
So you
that-
provide them
that-
notice, but it's part of the site walk for even the CFC.
Mhm.
It's required, it's a checkbox on that.
Yes,
close
but
it.
you have to give consent to that. So I would, if we're gonna keep this, I would say at least 24 hours notice and consent by the landowner, the property owner, or respective agent. Whoever's- Whoever there is not.
Because when you
Yeah,
say,
but
from-
now you gotta watch out there on that though. What if it's a commercial project,
Well, that's what I'm saying, or agent, authorized agent.
right? So what if the agent doesn't authorize you to go on a commercial site that's disturbing, say, 2-3 acres? Now what are you gonna do? You can't have that language in there. So you have a project going on that's, they're putting up something and they're disturbing 3 acres. All of a sudden, you ain't coming on, I don't care what notice you give me, and now what do you do if you put that in
There
there?
is legal remedies they can take.
Yeah, but now all of a sudden,
Yeah.
the process we're talking earlier, now it drags on. Now here we go. Now you're talking weeks, months, or
Well,
whatever.
how do you separate the residential side of that, Mike, and the commercial side? Because I
Well,
don't think,
it's ju-
anybody in this table would want any, no, and I'm not, any
Right,
board or
right.
any committee, just to, on a whim, decide that they're
No.
gonna go.
But it's no different than the fine, we just hammered out, what's the difference between residential
Yeah,
and commercial?
yeah.
So, we're in the same scenario here, on the same aspect, where you gotta try to find that balancing act between the two, where 100% agree with you, but then you jeopardize on the flip side, on a bigger project, having the same ability, because you can't have language to affect one and not the other.
I'd be willing to
So-
that. I'm gonna, this is just, I'm trying to, is that, you have a commercial development and there's something major going on and they say, no, you're not coming on the property. And they let whatever's gonna happen take place, it's gonna get substantially worse and the cost to do everything's gonna be substantially higher. The relationship with that developer is gonna substantially diminish. So I find out unlikely that scenario would actually arise.
It'd probably be a cease and desist.
So-
At that point, it would be, because they can, something that they know that's going on. They're gonna see it from somebody else's property.
Yeah.
And then it would be a cease and desist.
Does section 8 need to be here versus in the rules and regs?
Well,
Because I looked at Uxbridge's and they don't even have a, entry to perform duties.
I know.
So,
but you know, what you're
Because
saying.
the law prevails on it, you just can't, I don't care
Correct.
what you can do.
No, I
with property,
agree.
You just can't go into the property.
So,
can I throw one question out there, if you don't mind? Are we allowed to use an opinion from town council on this?
Sure.
See what he would say in a circumstance like this.
Yeah, but isn't when you file a notice of intent, then automatically that grants the Conservation Commission permission to go out there and review the site?
Right.
But
You
the-
Except you need the applicant's consent, but yeah.
Yes, with the applicant's consent.
consent.
Yeah, but so if the applicant doesn't give you consent to go review it,
Your
then you don't
project's gonna
get,
get denied.
then you don't
You
get
can't-
a, you don't get
right.
a permit.
Right,
yeah.
but you know what, the other thing was is,
But there again, now it's coming back to now you're holding a ransom almost.
I,
So,
yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but she's saying, well, you are gonna give consent, or you're not gonna do it.
Well, because there are certain things that but you're gonna get consent to go out and look at it, so somebody wants to get something done. Obviously, it has to get looked at. The engineers have to look at it, somebody has to get out there and look at it.
I really think section 8 needs to be in the rules and regs and not in the bylaw
Well-
area. Because at the end of the day it's the procedure of what you're gonna go do in the steps, right? You're gonna file a plan in the rules and regs. You're gonna have to schedule consent and stuff like that.
I would just leave it, why wouldn't I just leave it to the extent permitted by state law?
right, no, I think we need.
Let's have legal. Take a look
I
at
think
it.
we need the.
That's why I was asking an
The advance,
opinion.
the advance notice, because
Yeah,
one
I
of
know,
the
we're all
things
in forward
here,
of
this
advance
is all
notice.
under the, you're all thinking somebody has filed a permit. But this is, all of a sudden, they suspect you're up to something, and to the extent permitted, that they got the permission to go in your property, because they suspect it.
No, this one reads filing an application.
Filing an application, so the
Grants the
first
planning
paragraph.
board to enter the
So
site.
Filing an
words.
application,
Right.
okay.
Right, this isn't like inspection to,
I don't,
suspicion. We
so-
removed that already.
So this is your filing.
Okay,
I think the other change in here, since we're looking at this, I don't know, I'd say the agent, right? Planning board, my concern is this, when I start, again, you just highlighted something here, Matt, is we ran into a problem where board members were walking on their own time onto people's property. So I don't know if I want to say planning board, I'd say the agent of the planning board. Do you know what I mean? Because planning board of 7 members, or any board of so many members, we don't need people on their own schedule
No.
coming on, right? Because it literally creates a big problem,
No,
and it
you
has in the
can't.
past.
Right.
I think we've had at least 2 incidences of that,
Yeah.
and I would just avoid that incident in the future.
Okay.
And we still need to, you still need to verify what the
Correct.
policy is with this.
Yeah, yeah, but I think we could say at least advance, I
24
don't want,
hours advance, 24 hours must be
Alright.
provided.
yeah, I don't want the
I think
4 hours in here.
24
because I
hours
don't.
is nothing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, 4 hours, I mean, somebody's at work.
Somebody's
but
at work.
I can't, I know, I ain't getting home
Yeah,
in 4 hours.
I sent you an email, and
Yeah,
my
okay.
place at noon.
Quite
Yeah.
frankly, I think 48 hours is more sufficient. 24 hours isn't much. Do you look at your emails every night? I
Yeah,
don't.
true, yeah.
At least, right?
Yeah, it says at least.
What if
Okay.
somebody doesn't have emails?
But
Well,
let's-
whatever, but I think 48 hours.
I think the reviewing agent,
24
is
hours
the
isn't
key
really
there.
enough. I think 48 hours,
Yeah.
by then you should have been able to find out
Okay.
somebody's coming.
Yeah, that's good, because it's not so much if there's something going on,
Right.
it's just simply that they want to go out and
Right.
look at something.
Confirm that you're abiding by the permit.
yeah,
So 48, I would agree with 48 hours, but
Yeah.
I also still think that should be consent.
yeah.
They have to give consent.
So I say 48 hours.
So we'll find out what council has to say on
Yeah.
some correct verbiage to protect everybody.
Right.
Both, mostly our residents, but also to allow on the commercial side of it. Because we are dealing with both with the same language.
So why don't we
Yeah.
add the 48 hours and consent right now, and then have legal counsel take a look at it?
That's what he's gonna do.
I just want to make sure we add those 2 pieces.
Or-
I don't want anything to get lost in between.
And property,
Consent
48 hours.
consent of the property owner,
or
of the,
agent.
yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you're gonna have town council review it, I mean, would it be better to have the consultants review our first draft, and then when we have the
Yeah.
draft from him, then give
True.
town council the
Okay.
entire package?
Yeah.
And maybe just highlight certain areas that we have concerns with,
Okay.
instead
That's fair.
of piecemeal?
That's fair.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
true.
Yeah, we
Costs us
were
less
gonna
money,
try to
too.
get this off to
Yeah.
Nick.
Because it's not, I mean, right now,
Anyways.
this is the only thing we've had a question on about really on council.
Yeah.
Was this one item.
Well, those are the things that we're aware of, but maybe some other things may jump
They
out at
gotta,
them.
town council has to
Right.
review it anyways. You know, after Nick does it anyways. Make sure
Yeah,
that
so let's
there's
just clean it
Okay.
up and,
no. All right.
It goes both ways. We're trying to finalize the bylaw. We can't wait till the very end. It's just a quick question to town council, have them answer it so we can get it in the bylaw. They hand a complete package, instead of keep going back and forth and back and forth. You need to make that communication and dialogue now, so we can get it in here, so he's not having to rewrite it.
Yeah, you already said something to him anyways,
I
right?
did,
That way there.
I did a home rule amendment with
Okay.
some of our questions. So his response came today, actually. First of all, the town administrator responded first, and he wrote, "It's common practice to cite the legal authority that allows a municipality to do what it's doing. Some would say it's extraneous language that does not need to be in a local bylaw. Not sure it is any more complex than that. I'm under the impression that people on this committee think they're actually amending a home rule amendment or statutes. Can't, so they're not. The representation to them is accurate. Perhaps hearing it from council will help." And the council said, Matt Wojcik is spot on. The additional language is harmless and superfluous. Sometimes citing it is a reminder that we are exercising our rights to adopt a bylaw that expands upon state law. So it doesn't have to be there,
Doesn't have
but
to be
it's
there.
helpful that it's
Yeah.
there.
But do we want to expand upon
I did-
state law? That's the key point of that statement. We just want to hold the state statute, not,
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
you know.
I think, well,
I say we keep it,
well,
just because, I mean, it's harmless, like you said in this first sentence.
I think the problem is this is if it was in all our other bylaws, talking about home rule, and people had a clear definition of that home rule is, you gotta go back to town meeting for any changes in the bylaw.
But what home rule does, it allows towns to create bylaws.
Agree.
Right.
Without going through the state. It allows us to do this at town meeting. That's what
Right.
home
Okay.
rule does. So that's why I said it's
Okay.
harmless to put it
Okay.
in there,
Right,
right? I mean,
I agree.
All right.
any new bylaws will probably have to put that in moving forward. I didn't do it with the solar bylaw.
Mhm.
I didn't even know about it,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but if this is something we have to do moving forward, then
So
we
what,
will.
what is the one that allows, a policy change, right? So, you know, a board has 7, post a meeting and they wanna just change their rules and regs.
There's usually a law that allows them to do that.
What's the law?
Subdivision control law for planning board.
Correct.
There's a state law for that.
To change the rules and regs?
Yeah, and then if we have a general bylaw that gives it permission to create regs, it's in the general bylaw as your reference point. Oh, yeah. And there's no other boards that have that sort of authority right now. Well, the Conservation Commission does, actually, because it's in the Wetland Protection Act. They create their own regulations to govern them that way.
Yeah.
So they do it through public hearing if they want to make amendments. Same with the planning board for subdivision control, but no one else has any other policy.
If they're changing their rules and regs?
Right.
Rules and regs only?
Right.
Okay, so only rules and regs can be changed in a 7-day meeting?
Yeah. Well, they have to pull the public hearing.
Yeah, so a 7-day meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So as long as the rules and regs are specific to fees, enforcement, all that type of stuff, not changing the meat of any.
Right. You
All right.
can't change the bylaw.
They
That's
can't
it.
change the bylaw.
All right.
That's why the bylaw language is important to have
It is,
a
Yeah.
good foothold.
right?
The other stuff, because everything is based off the bylaw.
All right. We want to move to, just looking at the rules and regs to kind of align this a little bit.
Yeah.
This is our last item kind of covered. This is,
I'm sorry, I had another feedback
There's
from
this
Nick
chapter
on the map.
90.
yep.
Yep.
I gave him, what we had in there for the map.
Yep.
Talks about where our applicability is,
Yep.
where our current livery is within the defined MS4 area. And he gave me some proposed language to add.
Okay. This is an, bylaw.
Yeah, it's from section 4, it's not in the draft, he just gave it to me today. So it reads, "No person may undertake construction activity, including clearing, grading, and excavation within one or more catchment areas as shown on the MS4 catchment area map. That.
Okay.
Or results in a land disturbance of area equal to or greater than 1 acre of land, will disturb less than 1 acre of land, but is part of a larger common plan of development or sale that will ultimately disturb in an area equal to or greater than 1 acre of land within one or more catchment areas, reference in the map again, without first obtaining a stormwater permit. So it's the same information, it just talks about within one or more catchment area.
Okay, so this is this would go underneath section 6?
Yeah, section 6 applicability.
So what's the catchment area? What is that?
The tile, yeah.
Area there.
Those areas
Those
there.
black dots, right?
Okay.
Yep, the MS4 catchment area.
Those
It's
are catchment
the
areas.
orange areas.
But
catchment
if someone
areas.
has already filed a subdivision plan with stormwater and everything, that would be covered. right?
Yeah, that's already in there.
It's already
It's
in
already-
Yeah, it's already
So-
in here.
Are we looking to add that as a second paragraph underneath the applicable?
No, this would replace the one that's there.
Okay.
And some of the language is similar, but
Yep.
I'll just take the whole thing out and just put in what he put. We'll have that for our next draft.
Okay, so you're gonna update this?
Yeah.
Which is nice because it's specific
Yep.
and it pertains to the map that we're all looking at.
So you're talking about section 6 applicability?
Yeah, A,
A.
to be updated. We'll see with Nick's notes.
Yeah, it'll reference the correct map.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that,
Piece of paper you want now.
the general,
No, it's actually this one here.
okay, so this one's updated?
Yes.
No, we're looking at the red one. So Nick's notes would update section 6A.
Yeah.
Okay. Calling out the map, sorry.
So which one, what's the same as that one then?
Yeah, it's the same one that you got there.
Okay, it's the same, it's the same one.
Yeah,
6A, yeah, right here, that.
that's gonna be updated.
Updated.
Okay, to be updated. Okay.
Thank you. Awesome. So by him saying that, he's in the same concurrence as we are on which map we're leaning towards.
Right.
Yep.
Which would really be good. And there again, it's very little, we have, I think, like I said, a little bit with the council, and with him on the narrowing down of the map. And that nails a very large portion of what we're trying to do.
All right. So, just looking at the rules and regs, the stock here. Let me get it. Cool. Right there. Yep. Might be that one that you flipped over there, Carol.
This one?
That's it.
There we go.
Okay, we're on rules and regs?
Yep.
All right. So, as we edit this, can we just continue the red line things as we go?
Yep. Sorry, I
Yeah, yeah,
have
yeah.
one that's in color with
No.
with your comments.
So, I think number 2,
Definition 2.
yeah, definition 2, right here.
Okay, agriculture.
Do we need that in there? Because we're already talking about wetlands and everything else that's defined.
So where were we, under definitions?
Yep.
Yeah,
It should be in here, even though I know it's gonna copy and paste from the bylaws, the regulations.
4, right?
It's number 4, sorry.
Yeah.
Number 4, but number 3, and we're in definitions, section 3, definitions, and the item is number 4.
Yeah.
Oh, the agriculture.
We scratched that from
Yep.
the bylaws.
yeah, so, what are my thoughts on this? We should make sure these definitions match
Correct.
Yeah.
the bylaw.
That's the reason why I was like,
Yeah, that's
do we
why
take
I
this
want
this one out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, and I'll make sure it does that.
Okay, and I just want to be able to hold the edits, so when
Mhm.
we have our next meeting, that they could see the edits of, this is redlined out.
Yeah, sorry, they just don't.
That's okay.
I know, I was trying to do that for the last one, I'm like, all right, now trying to figure out which one's.
Okay.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah.
I'm gonna get Jen to print them the right way.
And then another one, the same with you should have, in the heading here, for the footer, put Douglas.
Yeah.
That's all, okay? Just-
Yep.
I think you can just add it to the header.
Douglas Stormwater Management.
Right.
I think it's just, yeah, Douglas, stormwater regs.
Yeah.
Number 7 is about the registered vernal pools.
Yeah.
So we want to I think we want to take out that side of it, stuff that would be addressed during Concom. I think we want to stick specifically to stormwater management. Is that
Yeah.
what the
So,
consensus is?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think, because we're just focused on stuff, on
Yeah,
stormwater.
This was catered to the conservation
Yeah.
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
so
No,
I
no
understand.
problem.
So are we taking back?
So seven's gonna come out?
Yeah.
Take it out.
Yeah.
So 8 is an interesting definition.
Yeah, eight, I kinda,
Should we add that to our bylaw?
to define of what the word clearing really means. I think we cover that when we talk about the disturbance.
Yeah, but not that, not, this is point blank,
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what.
which is sometimes what you need.
Okay.
That definitely eliminates gray area when you
All right.
read that.
Right, but then when you look at the bylaw, that's saying just any activity that removes vegetative surface cover. And my understanding was that this, you didn't want to get involved with, if somebody was just, as long as you didn't disturb the soil, you could clear, but you could not. I think Margaret had her edit was, it had to be all three, clearing, do you remember that edit you made? Had to be.
Clearing and, not or,
Or,
and
yeah.
grading.
Yeah.
Had to have be both.
Had
Yeah.
to be both.
I don't
Yeah,
know what the third one is.
there was clearing,
That was just
In
two.
the bylaw?
Clearing and grading.
Yeah. I think, you know what, if you look at number 11, underneath disturbance, underneath the definitions there,
So disturbance is something that we took out of our bylaw. That's one of the definitions we removed.
really, what's the
Yeah.
one that we, put in its place though? That we-
It said see construction activity. And disturbance here is construction activity in the original.
Oh, they call it construction activity.
Yeah,
And did we
we removed it.
we didn't remove construction activity.
Yeah, from the bylaw.
Oh.
Yeah, it's crossed out.
All right, so,
yes, because Margaret's edit on that was existing vegetation and underlying soil of the site.
so,
They have both.
so why don't
Right,
we,
but they removed that though. So now we gotta make sure that that's back in place
so
somewhere.
Right.
do we add disturbance into our bylaw? Right? Because,
Disturbance.
Huh?
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
think
yeah,
so.
so,
That's a-
so why don't we clarify it in the rules and regs and define it there, and we'll then port it over, okay? So disturbance reads, all right, action to alter or disturb existing vegetation and/or underlying soils.
So you wanna get
And
rid of.
just get rid of
get
or.
or.
Get rid of the word or,
Yeah.
okay?
Yep.
So that's gone.
And
Of a site such as clearing, grading, site preparation, e.g. excavation, cutting, filling, soil compaction, and movements and stockpiles of soil. So I think that's a very clear definition.
For disturbance.
And if we,
So get rid of number 8
I
and just
think-
stay with disturbance?
yeah, I think 8 goes away, and we
Yeah.
bring disturbance back over to the bylaw,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay?
so 8 goes, does 8 go out of the definitions?
He'll cross it out, and then it will reorder itself.
That means we're gonna remove
Yes.
grading also.
Yeah.
So the bylaw will have definitions, but not
So,
the exact same
Correct.
amount as the regulations.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they both match up.
and we'll get, like Matt said, get rid of 15 also,
Yeah. Okay.
because number 11 covers it.
So we can get 14 is about the wildlife.
Yeah.
Get rid of it,
How
right?
about
Yeah.
the one above that? You highlighted erosion and sediment control plan.
Okay,
Correct.
so we're eliminating
So,
14.
well, the discussion on that one. So number 13, okay, erosion and sediment control plan. My thought is, if you're going, again, this is for stormwater.
You gotta go to, start with 12 first, in reality,
Yeah.
before you get to the
So,
control
so
plan.
erosion, what erosion is. Again, these are just definitions here.
Right, but you gotta make sure that it's not
Correct.
how you're applying on the bylaw.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah.
So you need to cross-reference the bylaw where it talks about erosion, so you know exactly. It's
Yeah.
consistent with what the.
We don't have the word erosion in our bylaw, or the settlement
I
control
haven't
plan.
seen, no.
So. I mean, and it defines what impervious, number 17, impervious surface. So why don't we, I think you're gonna need this in, again, if you're doing a site plan review, right? You know, or you're doing a conservation, so whether you're before the planning board, you're gonna need an erosion control plan. It could be part of your site plan, it could be part of
So,
your,
if that, well, why are we having two erosion? One's the erosion and erosion sediment control?
one's the definition of erosion.
Right, but it's gonna be addressed in the plan.
In the plan.
In the plan,
Yeah.
which is, what does,
Yeah.
do we need to reference the Massachusetts, stormwater policy on any of that? I know Uxbridge, they reference specifically, so that way there, they know what's being designed to what standards. Like, how does Concom design, it goes by the regulations, the DEP sets forth for.
Right.
So I guess I'm trying to think of how I can answer that question, or ask that question.
Water, ice.
So they use for their criteria, well, we were the planning board at that point, because then you guys just reviewed, right? So the professional engineer, when he does his wetlands plan, and he uses the Massachusetts stormwater policy to
Yeah.
design, the criteria
Yeah.
set forth in that to design his plan,
Right,
right? So is that what the Concom goes by, there's no other,
pretty much so, yeah, if you meet all those
all those requirements?
standards, then you're good.
Good eye. All right, so, yeah, I mean, Matt's on a little time schedule crunch.
Okay.
So, why don't we keep erosion in there and erosion control plan summit for now? Again, they're underneath definitions. We're gonna remove 14. This is our first review of the rules and regs anyways. 7 is, vernal pools is out. Grading, is out, number 15, and number 8 is out.
Yeah, number 14, number 15.
Yep, 14, 15, yep.
Now, 16, groundwater, water beneath the surface of the ground, including confined or unconfined aquifers, and I would also put and perched water tables. Because, agree?
We're
Because
gonna
unless-
leave that in?
These are just definitions, because
Does
the
that
words
make-
come up throughout the document.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
so we're
There's the
taking
only reason
16
they're
out?
here.
No, 16,
No, no.
16 you can leave in.
16 out.
Huh?
Take 16 out?
No.
No, so
no.
I would
She
just
wanted to
have-
define it better? You wanted
Well,
to,
yeah, because a lot of people don't think perched water tables are a water table.
What's
Okay.
perched water tables?
It's when you have a lot of water that, especially stormwater.
Yeah,
pulls up.
It goes maybe through the first foot of the soil, but then it hits a more denser,
yeah.
and then it just runs right
Okay.
along and then breaks out somewhere else. I mean,
Yeah.
that can be a
All
problem.
right. All right,
It's not water that comes up,
Yeah, okay,
straight
gotcha.
up, it just,
So-
or ledge, if you got ledge, and I
Yeah.
tell you, that's like pavement underneath the dirt.
So
And
for-
if you
so-
put something like that, do you end up having to start testing for that type of
Well,
stuff?
that's what
Yeah.
A perched water table, you do soil test pits, and you should be able to tell if you got a perched water table or
Okay.
not.
So why don't we, if you want to add more language, you can send it to Matt and we'll add it in there.
Just-
If we're missing
Just run
something.
it in.
I
Okay.
I don't
Um,
think I add any more than what we have to.
Number,
That's my
agree.
feeling. I
What do
don't
you
want to add any more than what we have
yeah,
to.
number 20. This is the endangered species piece.
Take it
I
out?
don't think we need that.
No.
Again, we're focused on the MS4.
Right.
And 18, you're taking that out too, infeasible?
8, yeah, feasible, I was wondering about that one.
Yeah, I,
And then 25, this is the heritage endangered.
Why would you want to take that out? The
What?
infeasible? I mean, if you're on, say, I guess I would apply that to, if you're on a redevelopment site and something, they're trying to do something, and then if it's not economically practical to achieve it according to industry standards, how would you address it?
I just think the word shows up somewhere else in the document, that's why it's in the definition.
Right.
So
So
I
that's
keep
what's
it?
pulling it out.
Let's keep it.
Okay.
All right, I'll keep that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We're okay with 25? Yeah. Again, just because,
we're getting rid of 25?
yeah, I don't think we need that.
You have to pull the definition from new development and
Yep.
redevelopment. I gotta pull those
Yep.
from the bylaw.
Okay. I think, what is 27, Margaret? What is 27?
Outfalls where it comes out of a basin.
All right, so it was just,
Out of a catch.
Yeah, that's.
sorry, it just took
That's all right.
an outfall. 31's missing. I don't even know what that, so
No,
whatever that was.
okay.
Um, At 35, we feel we need, that's rare species and stuff like that. I think we need that one.
35, get rid of?
Yeah. Um,
So 38 redevelopment, we go back to,
Yeah.
38, yeah, that's gonna,
put new and additional.
he's gonna bring it over from the bylaw.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure, all
Pilot
right.
test truck.
Yeah. Do we need 37, which is a recharge?
I think so.
Okay.
Which one was 34? 37?
37 is a recharge area.
Yeah.
Stabilization.
I have to see what that applies, that has to apply to the bylaw as well, so. I
Yep.
have to see. And it's my understanding that the rules and regulations, we haven't get into those yet, but I'm thinking, a lot of this stuff, I think should be in the bylaw, if it's, I thought the rules and regulations supposed to be limited to strictly policy, fees and
Right.
things like that.
What you need in your application when you
Right.
submit, right, the checklist.
Right. So I'm just curious
So
as to
all
how this all plays out in the rest of this
This
process.
is just terminology description,
Yeah.
is what this is.
But you can guarantee it's in it's in this regulation somewhere.
Right. That's why they have it.
So you're,
So we want to make sure that that's in the bylaw. We don't want, because the rules and regulations can be changed at any point.
correct. So we want to port over the word applicability for number 5 should have the bylaw applicability, right? So this should match the bylaw. So number 5.
So,
So we talk about applicability. it should match up.
the 4.0,
Where are you, Mike?
when you read,
Amendment?
should it
Amendments?
just be a majority or super majority?
Yeah, only special permits can carry a supermajority.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mass General law.
Yeah, when you do a rules and regs, it's majority.
Okay.
Oh, 6.1, section 1. You got conservation commission.
I wasn't sure what to do there, but that's covered in the bylaw, so we can remove that.
Do we want that whole section?
Yeah.
1.1. Okay, that's right here. Darryl.
Number 1, we're scratching that out.
1.1. Below it.
All of that
Yeah.
out.
Okay, we'll leave that. No construction, results in existing. Okay. 6.2 is pretty
Oh,
clear.
Okay, yeah, so I guess no construction, land alteration, or improvement of impervious surfaces resulting in total land disturbances greater than 1 acre within the MSA map area, correct?
Okay.
Well, yeah, they
6.2?
got specific between storm catch basins
Within the catchment area.
within the
Which
catchment
would be,
area.
yeah, which
should be-
refers you back to the map.
Correct.
Yep.
Which would be-
So the verbiage, yeah,
So the map's gonna get cleaned up, so that should address
Within-
it.
but everything will be
And then
within
we
what's
use
called
that-
catchment areas.
That
is
word
where it's gonna
total
be.
instead of new.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, we changed that in the bylaw to new,
Yeah.
not total.
Okay.
Sound like a new.
Yeah, that's why we want to look at the regs.
Okay.
Catchment area.
Yep. Okay. If there's any other edits, I'll take them from there. I'll send them to you. Okay? No problem. You got a family life, we get it. You know what I mean? Might have a, I don't know, what time is it?
I had a hard 6:30
Yeah,
stop
no
today,
problem.
so.
Thank you. I'll send you any of the edits from there, Matt.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, so,
And you're gonna let us know on those 2 questions?
what do you
Please?
think?
Written down, you got it.
6.3, the filing and application, 8 copies.
You guys can leave everything here, I'll get it in the morning.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, Matt.
Are we doing 8 copies because it goes out to the reviewing group, right? So you got 7 planning board members, you got the agent. So is that the 8 copies?
Gotta be it.
Okay.
Why else?
Yeah. The problem is copies, right? I'd almost say like an electronic, you
So
know.
what about an electronic copy, and then they can print out
Correct,
copies?
correct. I always, you know, just
Nobody likes to do that. They want everybody wants their hard.
hard copy.
Well, the thing
I know,
is
but
too,
no,
sometimes
no,
you
but
need,
the-
I'd say and,
For the meetings, they can print
And?
out. hard
sometimes you need
copies of what it is.
signatures.
correct, but would you say
it's
8
not-
copies and electronic copy? Or just leave it at
Says
eight?
like G, was G covers it, PDF, there's your electronic.
Oh, you're on the other page already, okay. Oh, okay, PDF copy
So-
of all docs, okay.
So you're covered on that aspect.
All right, and then, okay, and then under item 2.
Item 2, 6, which one you on? Item 2? Yep.
6.32.
Yep.
Should that go to Douglas Department of Public Works and the Douglas Conservation Commission, not planning board there?
No, this is for the stormwater
The
application.
planning board shall provide one copy of the completed stormwater
Oh.
management permit
Okay.
application to the Douglas Department of Public Works and
Okay.
should be the Douglas Concom,
Yeah, I
correct?
Yeah.
think you're right.
So it should be Douglas,
Yeah,
Concom,
planning board got in
they
there
share.
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it should be
Yeah.
not the Douglas Department of Public Works, the Douglas Highway.
Highway
Super-
Department,
Highway
yeah.
Department.
Correct.
in call.
Okay.
Oh, and list of abutters, 300 feet.
Yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about.
Do they always do 300 feet?
Why-
Usually
why-
do.
There's usually a special permit's 300
Yeah.
feet.
Correct. Do you think, 300's a lot?
It is. You have an acre,
Especially
that
if
could be
you're,
a lot of
especially if you're
abutters.
downtown.
Oh,
Yeah, and that's it.
I mean,
So you're
well,
streets.
well, that's why, again, that's why
Hundreds
we're,
of dollars of
this is our first
certified
review of
mail.
this.
Yeah.
So what do you
Well,
think?
you gotta go back in perspective. If you're downtown, you're not gonna have an acre to disturb, you're not gonna be worried about this.
No, but
You have to
even,
notify all.
the thing is,
Downtown
300,
No, but what I'm getting at, there's no place downtown you're gonna disturb an acre.
correct, but if you're up
Oh, there
in,
is.
if you're up in North Street or
Yeah.
wherever else, Route
Yeah.
16,
What would you suggest for abutters for
I would say
distance?
100
I
feet.
think it's like, yeah,
100?
I
I
think
think
100.
100 too,
I think my
so-
tree hearing stuff is always 100. I think
100,
it's like the
yeah,
tree
yeah.
wood and stuff.
100 feet is good.
That's good.
yeah, I kind of, even today with special permits with 300, you're,
I know, we
you
get
got,
them,
well, you got people that come in and go, you know, it's not even a butter, a direct abutter, you know what I
Right,
mean?
well, 300 feet, you could be $500,000 in certified mail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The other thing is underneath 6.4, right?
Yeah.
You have, all the fees broken down here and stuff like that. I think there was, in 6.4, number 2, that the initial fee is $2,500 for a review. So, if it's Sally homeowner who's in this and has to get it reviewed, paying a fee for $2,500.
Yeah, where you
I think,
Oh, yeah, Friday.
that's something I'd wait for Matt on, because I don't know the cost of the peer review per hour. So,
Okay.
I mean, you can't, you have to cover that cost.
Okay.
You can't have the town paying for it.
No. I just.
So, until you get a price structure, and put a big question
Yeah,
mark next
yeah.
to it,
Yeah.
and have, maybe, you know, bring that up and ask
Yeah.
them, say, next meeting.
No, yeah. No, I think we can bring it up there because you know what I mean.
Peer review is such a bunch of bull. You got a licensed person
yeah, I
that
know.
stamped it and everything. You know
I
what?
agree.
Why don't they tell us who the peer review person is? We'll hire right away.
Well,
I
Let them
agree.
do it.
You're
This
paying
is
for it
ridiculous.
twice,
You're
right.
paying
That's
twice.
all.
It makes no sense.
The poor applicant, that's correct, they're paying twice.
They're
The two
paying twice.
engineers.
Yeah.
that's-
So you
Yeah,
have-
two engineers.
so you
And then
have-
the two engineers
Yes,
go back
yeah.
and forth.
I've seen it with the
So I think we're talking about fees on our
engineers
next one.
all disagreed on how,
Oh, that's correct.
on the,
That's correct. And
Correct.
the poor applicant just keeps
Yeah.
writing checks.
That's
Yeah.
right, checks, exactly.
That's brutal, though.
It is brutal.
That's brutal.
It is, but also, just because somebody has a name engineer doesn't mean that they know what they're putting down on
No,
them.
no.
Right. And we've seen that before too.
But
yeah,
again,
it's licensed and they have a stamp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
but
have to
that,
stamp it, and if it
If it
fails,
fails,
they're
they're
held
held
liable. Just like,
Right.
The
just like,
company
But
is
you
held,
think-
the
you think about
company is
that,
held
Mike,
liable.
but,
yes.
but who pays the consequences for
yeah.
that? the residents of the community.
That's
Okay.
correct. Well, just for example, up there on.
I know,
you
they don't have to remind me.
So,
And I think the jury's still out on that up there.
Sure
so
is.
so do
See
you,
what happens this winter.
do you guys wanna use this as a stopping
Yeah.
point for 6-4?
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
Since we got
We'll stop tonight,
we can stop tonight at 6-4?
stop on tonight.
Yeah,
Sound good?
Okay.
We're running after
yeah,
that.
because try to get a review from Matt
Yeah.
on a cost and why those numbers are like that.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
can't answer that.
No, that's fair. All right.
So, just a quick one on this, we thought we addressed the copies, but you have to submit 8 copies of the whole package, then you gotta submit 8 copies of each individual part of the package. The stormwater management plan, the
Oh.
erosion controls plan, the operation and maintenance plan.
But if those plan, well, I think we'll review these as we go, because,
Saying the completed stormwater management permit application package, which that would be included in the
Should
package, right?
include
should include,
Yeah.
period.
So all that is already included in the 8 copies.
8
in there.
copies, that's
Correct.
right. So we always should include, that's
Should
right.
include.
Bang, bang, bang,
Yeah.
bang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we wanna add that in.
So eight application packages that include all this stuff.
Right, so we're not having individual.
Right.
Okay.
I think it was broken out individually to show what is to be there.
Right, but if you read it, it's saying 8 copies completed, then you go,
Yeah.
it says the 8 copies of that, and so additional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
don't think it's intended, I
Total,
don't
should
think
be
it's.
total.
Yes,
Should include, and I think that's part of your plan.
yes, the package submittal shall include.
Yeah.
copies of
Okay.
each one.
All right. All right,
Do we still want the consultant to come November 12th? Are we ready for him yet?
what's the sense?
I don't think we
I
are.
think,
No,
well,
I think we
remember,
have-
the consultant doesn't have anything to do with this part of it.
Correct.
Just the bylaw.
Right,
The
right.
bylaw tonight, except for those 2 questions we had,
Yeah.
is hammered out, I think.
Well,
No, I
for the
think- I
most-
think
no,
we oughta
'cause
wait.
I think
I
like
think
if
we
you-
got a lot
you
more
look at
hammering to
this,
do.
A lot of this stuff, I think, the rules and regulations, it should strictly be
Just in case
limited
To the bylaw.
to the-
So that's what
So
I'm
they
getting
can't
at.
start changing and using things.
So the bylaw, if he comes in and says, listen, this is good, this then mirrors that,
I
but
just
we
think the
don't know
12th
if
is
it's
too
good
soon.
yet.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
think
we're
the
trying.
12th is too soon. I think we need to have this bylaw, because we're
Yeah.
even
Don't be
between us,
rushing. I
we're all
know, I know.
looking over.
But this isn't the
No,
bylaw.
no.
I know, but.
This is
we
just
don't-
rules and regs.
but What do we
We're
need
still
him
in the-
for, right at this
So-
point?
Rough stage of
And we're
this.
at the rough stage.
I think the only thing is we haven't gone through the rules and regs enough.
Yeah.
That if there's a section or something that has to be ported over,
Right,
do you know what I mean? Then we gotta go back to Nick.
right.
So,
And then we
I
gotta
think just,
pay him
we
whenever
probably
they
need one
come.
more meeting where we go through the rules and regs and finish this up. And we look at the final edits that
Yes.
we covered
Right,
tonight.
right.
In that,
Okay.
and then
we're
once we
ready.
feel we got a 95% version there, that
Yeah.
we're almost to the finish line, then we can send that off to Nick and Nick can come in
Yeah.
and do that.
Right.
I think we just need a little more time on the rules and regs to make that aligned, just in
Yeah,
case there's
I
any
think we need
sections that have to be
wait. I think we
ported
ought to
over.
tell them we don't
Yeah.
want them on the 12th.
Yeah, we don't wanna rush it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, for the finance committee, I don't wanna have to pay a dime more than we have
Okay.
to.
No, but I
Alright.
think
Yeah.
the questions tonight brought up to ask council and to ask him,
Yeah.
finalizing, those are
Right.
the 2 big hurdles to get over to help push it to that finishing stage.
Okay.
to get it wrapped up.
Anything else in here?
So are we,
Oh.
who's gonna inform
I'll
Matt that we
let
don't
Matt know.
want him on the 12th?
I won't be here on the 12th.
I'll let Matt know. You know what I mean? No agent on the 12th. All right?
I will be here on the 12th.
I should be here on the 12th.
You're gonna do minutes?
Yep.
You're my age, I can't
Sure.
guarantee
We
it.
get the,
What?
October
I said
15th?
at my age, I can't guarantee anything.
We're planning on you being here, Carol.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, come on. All right, so
plan
we
on
get the,
it
October 15th minutes.
We have the minutes in the packet.
Yep.
Yep,
Let's see.
Yeah,
I wasn't
there it
here,
is.
so I'm gonna have to.
Okay. It was,
Which?
it was actually a pretty quick meeting.
Actually, I was gonna read it.
Yeah, it was actually a
Yeah.
pretty quick meeting, because when you guys weren't here, we really briefly covered a few things regarding the map. We didn't wanna, make a decision on the, using the tile map without the full committee being here. And I think we covered the minutes from the previous meetings, and that was it. So,
That's pretty. Motion to accept the meeting minutes for October 15, 2024 as written.
all right.
Second.
Motion made by Mike, seconded by Adam. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Okay.
I'm gonna abstain because I
Yep.
was not here.
Yeah.
I was
Calling in.
on the stain as well.
Calling in, Carol abstained. All right,
So November 12th is the next meeting?
Yep.
Yes.
November 12th, motion to entertain, motion to
Adjourn?
So moved.
okay, made by Colin, second by Adam, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.